Thank you for staying with us. Traditional leader of Yawata community in Benue State, His Royal Highness Kumaga Joe, has backed moves by the U.S. through its President Donald Trump to end alleged Christian genocide in Nigeria. Now, you do know that over 200 persons were massacred when suspected Fulani gunmen invaded Yawata in June this year, 2025. Joe welcomed Trump's U.S. military action threats while speaking with journalists in Makurdi on Thursday. He concurred with Trump that there is ongoing killing of Christians in Nigeria. According to him, the attack on his domain as well as other attacks in Benue State were carried out by Muslim terrorists. Joe appreciated the U.S. president for coming to the aid of Christians in Nigeria and urged him to expedite the action. According to him, the situation remains dire as killings go on almost daily, with many villages sacked and occupied by the terrorists. He expressed sadness that original inhabitants are now taking refuge in internally displaced persons camps across Benue State. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to defeating terrorism and strengthening diplomatic ties with Nigeria's global partners. The president said, and I quote, "We are engaging the war diplomatically and we assure all of you that we will defeat terrorism. The task ahead is to move forward with clarity of purpose, guided by the renewed hope agenda to build a prosperous Nigeria." The president declared just before the Federal Executive Council entered a closed-door session today. The meeting was held at the council chamber at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja, in the first gathering of the council since July. His remarks come days after the U.S. President, Mr. Donald Trump, designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, a move the federal government has described as a misrepresentation of the nation's security situation. In his first public comment on the matter, the president said his government is engaging with the international community to advance security, stability, and economic growth. Also, he assured Nigerians that the country remains united and resolute in its pursuit of peace and prosperity. The president commended members of his cabinet for their commitment to his renewed hope agenda, emphasizing the need for unity and focus in implementing government reforms. Now, the United States House of Representatives has urged the Departments of State and Treasury to impose targeted sanctions on individuals and organizations, including Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria and Miyetti Allah Cattle Hore, over alleged violations of religious freedom in Nigeria. This was contained in a resolution introduced before the House today and cited by a correspondent from the U.S. Congress website on Wednesday. Now, you know that Trump, in a post on Truth Social over the weekend, declared Nigeria a country of particular concern and threatened to take military action if the country did not stem the alleged killings of Christians. Well, based on the file, Congress, the resolution submitted by Rep. Christopher Smith with Rep. Paul Huizenga as a co-sponsor, commends President Donald Trump for redesignating Nigeria as a country of particular concern. The sponsors decried the alleged worsening persecution of Christians and other religious minority. They cited a catalogue of findings and reports that informed the measure, including media accounts of the NGO data alleging large-scale attacks on civilian destruction of places of worship, and indeed a pattern most people recall was actually dangerous. The situation has permutated, while others believe that this is a call in good direction. Religious leaders such as Father Remigius Iula and Bishop Ruford Anagwe, who testified on March 12, 2025 at a hearing of the House Foreign Affairs Committee about the persecution and targeted killings of Christians in the Diocese of Makurdi, have faced intimidation, threats and harassment from both extremist groups and government authorities. These religious leaders from Benue, who went to the parliament in the UK to make all these revelations, have literally been hiding in fear. The US have been providing protection for them as they are afraid to return to Nigeria, with the threat from tribalists as well as some other Nigerians in other parts of the country, saying they were the ones that brought the embarrassment to Nigeria. They therefore moved that President Donald Trump acted appropriately and decisively to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern and hold the Nigerian government accountable for its complicity in religious persecution of radical Islamists such as Boko Haram and Fulani terrorists.
In Nigeria, thousands and thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. That's a legal definition. When the Christians or any such group is slaughtered, like is happening in Nigeria, 3,100 versus 4,476 worldwide. What horrible numbers. Something has to be done. I am asking Congressman Riley Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House of...
Oh, well, that was President Donald Trump of the United States of America making his declaration. Meanwhile, the U.S. has actually reportedly drawn up contingency plans for potential airstrikes in Nigeria following an order from President Donald Trump directing the Pentagon to prepare to intervene to protect Christians from terrorist attacks. This is according to the New York Times. The report was just published last night, and it stated that the U.S. Africa Command had presented multiple operation options to the Department of War, responding to a request from Secretary Pete Hegseth to develop plans aligned with Trump's directive. Now, military officials familiar with the deliberations told news platforms that the proposals categorized as heavy, medium, and light, outlining varying levels of engagement in Nigeria. Under the heavy option, Washington would deploy an aircraft carrier strike group to the Gulf of Guinea, supported by fighter jets or long-range bombers to hit militant targets deep inside northern Nigeria. The medium option proposes the use of MQ-9 Reaper and MQ-1 Predator drones for targeted strikes on insurgent camps, convoys, and vehicles. The drones would operate with U.S. intelligence support to ensure precise and timely attacks. The light option, on the other hand, focuses on intelligence sharing, logistics support, and joint operations with Nigerian forces against Boko Haram and other Islamist groups accused of mass killings, abductions, and church attacks. Now, despite the planning, top Pentagon officials reportedly concede that limited airstrikes or drone operations are unlikely to end Nigeria's prolonged insurgency unless the U.S. launches a full-scale campaign similar to those in Iraq or Afghanistan, an approach no one in Washington is currently advocating. Well, earlier, Trump had threatened to deploy American military forces to Nigeria if the alleged genocide against Christians was not stopped, but the Bola Tinubu government has actually refuted the claim in its entirety. Meanwhile, China just on Tuesday declared its support for Nigeria, saying it opposes any foreign interference under the guise of religion or human rights. Also, the Nigeria's comprehensive strategic partner, China, firmly is opposing any country using religion and human rights as an excuse to interfere in other countries' internal affairs and threatening other countries with sanctions and force. Ning made the remarks in response to questions about Trump's threat of military action in Nigeria, while the federal government on Wednesday rejected its inclusion in the U.S. list of countries violating religious freedom, insisting that such a designation stems from inaccurate data and misrepresentation of the nation's security challenges. The information minister, Mohammed Idris, clarified that Nigeria faces terrorism, not religious persecution, and that both Christians and Muslims have suffered from extremist violence. Meanwhile, Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka has condemned the July 1, 2021 invasion of the Ibadan home of Yoruba Nation agitator Chief Sunday Adeyemo, also known as Sunday Igboho, by operatives of the Department of State Services and the Nigerian Army. While Soyinka faulted the violent dawn raid on Igboho's residence, describing it as an unjustifiable assault that cost human lives. The Nobel laureate maintained that the operation, which led to the killings of 2 aides and the arrest of 13 persons, actually was a clear abuse of state power. Igboho's residence was stormed on allegations that he was stockpiling arms, a claim he repeatedly denied. The DSS later paraded the arrested individuals and displayed firearms allegedly recovered from the scene, which actually sparked several concerns. The DSS paraded these victims as well as other individuals who were found in Sunday Igboho's house. Soyinka said the federal government should accept responsibility for the raid, especially, and issue a public apology to Igboho and the families of the victims. The playwright noted that rather than targeting individuals peacefully agitated for their right as well as protection of their territory, the government should have, at the most instances, curbed the insecurity challenges currently bedeviling the country. Now, also, Wale Soyinka said he predicated mass revocation of visas and green cards by the United States. In an interview published by BBC on Facebook yesterday, the world-acclaimed writer, whose visa was recently revoked by the US, said he knew that once Donald Trump got into office as president, the first thing he would do is cancel even the green cards. He says he saw it and he's saying, listen carefully, you can go check this. When that man comes to power, the first thing he will do is to cancel even the green cards. Now, Soyinka's comment is coming amid diplomatic tension between Nigeria and the US after Trump at the weekend designated Nigeria as a country of particular concerns. Trump, in a series of posts, also warned that if the Nigerian government fails to stop killings, the US would intervene militarily, coming into Nigeria, guns ablazing, a comment that has generated widespread panic and pushback both locally and internationally. Now, Soyinka, who is a vocal critic of Trump's administration, had threatened ahead of Trump's first inauguration to tear his green card once Trump was sworn in, a threat the Nobel laureate has since carried out. Well, in July this year, the Department of State announced an update to its non-immigrant visa policy for Nigerian citizens. According to a press release issued by the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, most non-immigrant and non-diplomatic visas issued to citizens of Nigeria will be single-entry visas with a 3-month validity period. Soyinka had, during a media parley just like Tuesday in Lagos, disclosed the revocation of the B1, B2 visa by the U.S. Embassy. U.S. Consulate announced the revocation of the visa in a letter addressed to Soyinka dated October 23, 2025. The consulate further requested Soyinka to bring his visa to the Lagos Embassy for physical cancellation, a request the Nobel laureate described as a joke. You're currently listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. After the break, we'll take more news and then we'll head into a news analysis. Do kindly stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The New York Times editorial board has issued a stark warning about the deepening erosion of democratic norms in the U.S. under President Donald Trump, stating that no previous American president has wielded power in the manner he currently does. In an editorial titled "We Are Losing Our Democracy," the board accused Trump of repeatedly acting in defiance of the law, warning that the country has moved closer to authoritarianism tendencies. The publication listed 12 markers of democratic erosion, which backed by detailed analysis, noting that several of these red flags have already become visible in the American political landscape. While stressing that the U.S. is not yet comparable to Russia or China, the board cautioned that democratic backsliding often accelerates once it begins. Now, in a very recent development as well, the United States government has said they do not care, but will go headlong into the proposition of curbing out terrorists in Nigeria. Meanwhile, Senate President Godswill Akpabio cautioned ministerial nominee Kingsley Ude against responding to any question related to the U.S. and saying that who appeared before the Senate for screening was nominated by President Bola Tinubu to replace replace Uche Nnaji, the former Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, who resigned last month over controversies surrounding his academic credentials. While only ministerial representative from Enugu State, he stepped down after sustained public criticism. Ude is the current Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Enugu State. He was recently elevated to the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. While senators are prepared to grill the nominee, Akpabio issued a clear warning. The only question I will urge you to ignore is commenting on Trump. Precisely, do not comment on Trump. This caution had followed heated debates earlier in the week after Trump's accusation on Nigeria. I currently have joining me via the telephone Barrister Fred Nzako. Barrister Fred, good evening. How are you, sir?
Very well. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to the listeners.
Good evening to you, sir. Thank you, Barrister Fred, for joining me this evening on the World News at 6. Barrister Fred Nzako, a couple of updates have been coming up since Trump's threats to supposedly invade Nigeria. Guns are blazing. That's what he wrote on his street social. I think he spoke with Secretary of State Pete Hegseth very recently, and they have been able to draw out a map as to how they intend to go about their bombing or military supposed clearance of some certain enclaves of Boko Haram and Islamic State of West Africa province in Nigeria. They gave it 3 different categories. They have the high, medium, and light. The light one means possibly just very little interference, and the powerful interference would involve heavy guns ablazing, but they would have to collaborate with the Nigerian military for sustained onslaught on them. There have also been some individuals who have been supposedly not allowed to have access to the US. The Benue State traditional leader as well has decided to tell Trump to go ahead with what he wants to do. You recall just day before yesterday evening, we saw bodies in Benue State who were recently attacked by the supposed extremists who reside or supposedly walk along those axes. Barrister Fred Nzako, would you say that at this point in time, with the bill drafted and the method with which they want to go ahead with it, that we're still thinking that Trump has an ulterior motive? And even the president saying he intends to work and collaborate with the U.S. in fighting insurgency. Why is Trump still heading along with a military airstrike in Nigeria?
Well, anybody who says that Trump has an ulterior motive just want to behave like an ostrich, live in denial, deceive himself, delude the public, and misrepresent and misunderstand the issues. The issues are very clear and very simple. That since 2009, Nigerian government has not been able to contain terrorists. Instead, they baptized them and called them bandits. Even with the baptism, they were unable to flush them out. The military will come and tell you that they have technically defeated the terrorists, whereas they have not done anything. All efforts made to bring sanity and security to the people have failed, woefully failed, and they became so bad that terrorists now dictate to the government what to do, dictate to the people where to go, take ransom from people, take even taxes, determine the life of villagers, and host flag, do all manner of things as non-state actors. Now, Nigeria has made efforts to rout them. So we were told, but the efforts have yielded almost zero result. People are being killed increasingly on a daily basis, on incremental basis. Now, another foreign power has come to help us. America is not coming to fight Nigeria. The narrative must be understood and be made clear. They are not coming to fight Nigeria. They are coming to remove the cancer that is troubling the Nigerian state, and that is the terrorists. Pure and simple. If anybody is against the coming of America to come and remove this cancer, then the person should as well come out and say that he is in support of terrorism, that he is in support of the killers in Nigeria. They are not coming to disturb anybody, any civil operator. They are not coming to disturb government. They are only coming to remove that cancer that we have been unable to remove for the past 16 years. So what are you telling me? And then somebody will now sit in his house and say there is ulterior motive. Which motive? Which motive? The simple motive is for the protection of life and property of Nigerian people as enshrined in our constitution, which is the basic essence of government. And if our government is unable to do that, and we acknowledge the fact that the world is a global village, and we realize that an injury to one is an injury to all, and we acknowledge that humanity is the same, and we accept that injustice to one is injustice to all, and we accept that life of every human being is sacrosanct and they should be protected, why will we not allow America, in fact, even welcome them, invite them, collaborate with them, and support them to remove that cancer that has been troubling our state, that has almost turned Nigeria into shreds? The cancer that has clashed interests of parties, interests of people, class tribe against tribe, class religion against religion, and done all manner of unprintable injury to the Nigerian state and Nigerian people. Now we have a Messiah that is coming to help us, and we sit down loudly and say Trump has an ulterior interest. Let whoever that says so come out and identify with the terrorists so that we will know who the enemies of Nigerians are.
All right. So, Barrister Fred, let's look at this. The president himself has come out to speak amidst Trump's threat. He said that his administration is literally committed to eradicating terrorism and achieving lasting peace throughout the country, assuring Nigerians that the federal government is intensifying its engagement with international partners to enhance national security. We've heard talks about some of the Nigerian government aides and spokespersons. A couple of them are not in Nigeria at the moment. They've been engaging with international media and soliciting for some international support in fighting out Boko Haram and having to clear out the threat of insecurity in terms of forming a partnership. But why did it take Trump to make the statement he made? Before we heard the president categorically make statements about this. Barrister Fred Nzako, when the situation of Benue happened, it was the Pope that created that sense of empathy and response before the presidency now decided to visit. Then the situation as well with Plateau, remember it was consistent. The president told the governor, Caleb Muftwang, to see how he can resolve the internal imbroglio between the farmers and the headers. He literally adulterated the intensity of the conflict in the state. Now, the president has eventually admitted that indeed terrorism is pervading the country and telling us categorically that he has a firm stance to clear it out. How do you think Nigerians should believe the president's words? Since before Trump's statement or Trump's threat, he hadn't actually addressed this.
Mr. Talk is cheap, very, very cheap, especially when it is led with propaganda and deliberate falsehood. It becomes very cheap. It is action that brings results. And what is that action that Nigerians have been expecting? To take the lives and properties of the people, pure and simple. That is what everybody in government has wanted. That is the basic essence of constitutionalism. That is even the basic essence of government. Any government that is unable to protect the lives and properties of the people is not worth its name. It is very clear, not only in our position, it is clear in international community all around the world, where everybody will surrender his individual sovereignty to an entity called government, with all authority to defend and protect the people. It is not in talks. It is not in sweet talks that are laced with lies and falsehood. It is in action. You ask yourself, what has the government done to protect the people and defend the lives of innocent people, the weak ones in the society? How on earth will government be hobnobbing with terrorists? How on earth will government be holding meetings with terrorists who come to the meetings with automatic, all manner of lethal ammunition? How on earth will government be paying terrorists so that they will not terrorize the people? How on earth will government be thinking of the so-called repentant terrorists? Is there anything like repentant terrorists? This is only in Nigerian lexicon that you hear such insulting terminologies, repentant terrorists. How on earth will a government be paying money to such daredevil terrorists just to pacify them when we can very easily remove them from disturbing us? And if the government has proven and shown its incapacity to remove these terrorists, what do you expect the world to do? Today, Nigerian borders with Chad and Niger have been closed because the terrorists want to run away from Nigeria into those countries. And they say, no, you can't come into our place. How can Nigeria be so terrorized when the Republic is safe, Ghana is safe, Niger is safe, Chad is safe, all countries around us are safe, and only the giant is being terrorized on a daily basis? How can there be killings on incremental basis and the government will continue to take those killings as basic statistics? Now the argument is no, it is not 200 people that were killed. It is only 180. Oh no, it is not 52. It is only 49. How can government be reduced to such inanity in an environment where the government has every capacity to protect the lives of the people? And of course, this whole narrative and argument, oh, it is Christians, oh, it is Muslims, a very shambolic argument and very idle argument by a people who don't mean well for themselves. And nobody should continue to make such arguments. Nigerians are being killed on a daily basis. Nigerians are being kidnapped. Today, the only business that is fertile in Nigeria is criminality. And how can a country's future be assured with this heightened level of criminality that we see in Nigeria? And when a country wants to come and help you, remove that is disturbing and troubling you, which you cannot remove. And instead of you to welcome that government, you begin to try politics with it. Of course, these are unnecessary politics because America knows what they want. They know what they are doing. They are determined to protect the life of innocent people all around the world, especially in Nigeria. Today we have been capturing the country of particular interest, of a particular concern. Mm-hmm. Have we not been saying this? So have we not been, even internally, have we not categorized Nigeria as a failed country internally? Has the rest of the world not seen Nigeria as a country that has failed to protect the basic essence of government has failed? So what are we telling ourselves?
Okay,
why would we continue to live in denial? Right, everybody who loves Nigeria should welcome America and ask them to come and remove this cancer. They are not coming to remove President Bola Tinubu from Aso Rock. They are not coming to remove any minister from his seat. They are coming to remove those criminals that have been troubling us, that we are unable to remove. Pure and simple.
Barrister Fred, the U.S., the United States has also urged the states of Treasury, United States representatives have actually urged the Department of State and Treasury to impose targeted sanctions on individuals and organizations. And the Miyetti cartel was also mentioned. Also, the Miyetti Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, because they ascribed that they're the ones perpetrating the alleged violation of religious freedom in Nigeria. Now, that's not the only thing. You recall that in March, Bishop Anagbe, as well as another accomplice, traveled to the UK Parliament. They were the ones who gave a detailed account with pictures and videos of the situation that occurs in their state and in their diocese. They were quite gory, and they said that their state is going through existential crisis. In fact, that's one of the primary source of accurate data, according to the US, provided to them by the Nigerian government, or not necessarily the Nigerian government, at least data gotten from Nigeria as evidence. That's not the only thing. The US is also saying that they have several data, they have several information with videos and pictures to collaborate, meaning that whatever it is the FG is saying to douse the authenticity of the situation is not what it is. Now, Nnamdi Kanu too, who is in the DSS custody, wrote a detailed letter to the US president praising him for drawing global attention to what he described as the genocide against Christians and Jewish adherents in Nigeria. The letter was actually dated November 6th, and it was released through his legal counsel, Aloy Ejimako, who commended Trump for his recent remarks. Do you think this will also complicate complicate Nnamdi Kanu's matter, because a couple of persons feel that these individuals who are asking Trump to interfere or intervene are persons who are against President Tinubu's government. A couple of other persons feel that because their own preferred political candidate did not win, this is a way of trying to tarnish Nigeria's image or burn Nigeria, whichever way you want to describe it. What's your take on that, sir?
So once again, I say that anybody who is not seeing the true picture is either living in denial or being outrightly mischievous. Now they are playing politics with it. Oh, the losers are the ones bringing from. Are the losers the ones killing people? Are the losers the ones encouraging the loss of lives and property of the people? Are the losers the ones that have been crying since 2009 that terrorism and insurgency had crept into the Nigerian system? Are the losers the ones that brought them in? When notable leaders of this country that have come out to say in a manner of confession that they were the ones that brought in these people when they wanted a regime change in Nigeria, are the losers the ones that did it? Look, we should stop deceiving ourselves. Those who know, and America is one of those who know. They know the truth. They know that we have been unable to fight insurgency. And they have all the details. The one that we are trying to give to them is only to cry out loud. Because he who wears the shoe knows where he pinches. Those of them who wear the shoe in this country, the people of Benue, the people of Plateau, the people of Zamfara, the people of Niger, the people of Kaduna, the people of Katsina, all the people around the country that are under the threat of insurgency, terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and all manner of terrible vices, they know where the shoe pinches them. And they are crying out loud. Don't forget that sometime ago in the past, the international community came to the aid of Nigeria. They wanted to collaborate with our security agencies, only for them to find out that when they share intelligence with our security agencies, they don't know how the intelligence will leak to the terrorists. And they found out and concluded that Nigeria was not serious to fight terrorism, and a lot of them left. America left, France left, Israel left, and all the Britain left, all of them left. And when they left, the terrorists now had a field day, to the extent that they were now lord of the manor. The decent citizens can no longer talk. You cannot practice your religion. You cannot feel free to leave any part of the country, even when the constitution had given you such authority to practice your religion freely and live anywhere you like. Then some criminals, some elements who don't love peace, who don't love value life, will now be killing people, and you say the America is only coming because of what? We should stop unnecessary politicization and seek help. Now help is seeking us. We fail to seek help, and help is coming to us by the divine providence of God. People who have been praying that God should remember Nigeria, their prayer have been answered. Now America says they give a condition. They are not coming immediately. They said, if you don't do this, we will come.
No, there's a recent development now. They are drafting the plan. There's a recent development, Barrister Fred.
Look, Esther, instead of us to begin to put measures in place to stop the killings, we are more interested in politics.
The president already said they are putting measures in place with the current change of security chiefs.
They want to come and defend the defenseless people. They want to come and defend the innocent ones. They want to come and defend those whose life is being terrorized and whose life is being snuffed out on a daily basis. They are coming, and they are most welcome.
Well, Barrister Fred Nzako, the recent one as of last night, as of yesterday, Barrister Fred, as of yesterday evening, Trump reiterated his stance, and they're already drafting a process through which they'll go with their invasion. They have mentioned the categories they would do. Trump wanted to do with the medium, but some House of Rep members in the US are saying that's not enough. That's not enough to actually clear out these guys, because they have been doing it for almost 2 decades, and they have, infiltrated and penetrated so many communities in Nigeria. So they're saying they have to come with heavy power, and they're drafting the military process. Okay, they mentioned how they intended to go about it, how they'll conscribe some of the military aircraft in some of the enclaves to route them out, whatever military strategy they want to employ. They'll also collaborate with the Nigerian security as well, those who will be on ground to do what they need to do, and they're going to come in through the Gulf of Guinea, doing what you call a long-range attack on these communities, specifically in northern Nigeria. For now, the heavy threats that Trump mentioned, well, the House is still yet to decide on it because they feel it would be completely authoritarian of the U.S. government to invade the country like that. But if the president has told us that he's willing to work with them, that means that indeed the president is quite happy about this partnership.
Which president is not happy? Our own president?
No, that means he's quite happy about the partnership. We've heard the president say before that if he does kill these guys, they would kill him. There were, threats like that, meaning that now that the U.S. has decided to offer their help, he doesn't mind working with them. So he seems to be quite happy with this effort from the U.S. What's your take on that quickly, sir?
Our president will be the happiest person on earth with this U.S. plan to come and help him, to come and rescue Nigeria, to come and drive away these wicked, satanic criminals that have not allowed Nigerians to drink water and drop the cup. There was one Alhaja that gave an interview. When she gave an interview to a national television, it went viral recently, that she discussed with Mr. President, and she told Mr. President that she will not join his government unless he tells her what plan he has for the North. And Mr. President told her that, according to her, though, that she has no much plan in terms of insecurity. That if she tries to stop it, that the government will run into trouble, that he himself may even be killed. That simply tells you that the president's seeming lackadaisical attitude towards security situation in Nigeria has root in fear and trepidation, and that is what America is coming to remove from his back. So he should be the happiest man, and he should, as the commander-in-chief, give an order that all of our military formations should cooperate with America to remove this cancer. I keep saying it. They are coming to remove that trouble that has troubled us. It's like if something is troubling you and you are unable to attack that thing, and somebody is coming to remove that thing from your back, won't you be happy and begin to sing hallelujah?
Very well,
my friend Nigerians to be singing hallelujah, and then show open welcome and open arms to America that are coming to help us. And of course, like Mr. Trump said, whether we accept it or not, they say they have a divine mandate to defend the interests of the weak and to save the lives of the innocent. And such mandate is unshakable, unequivocal, very, very determined, and must be achieved. So what options do we have? Only one option: cooperate with America. That's all. If you fail to cooperate with America, if any backlash begins to happen, then we will have to blame ourselves. Forget all this unnecessary politicking and talks by people who care less about the lives of others. Anybody who has the interest of a Nigerian at heart will feel sad that fellow citizens are being killed, and will be happy that those who kill fellow citizens are going to be removed. They said they will remove them all. Whether they kill them, or they drive them away, or they do anything, what is important to Nigerian society is that those who are killing the people are removed from the people. Pure and simple. There is an irreducible minimum. And no matter how anybody tries to play politics around it, or give pre-assessment, or talk by the side or any, they are completely immaterial. Go and read the statement by the Secretary of War of America. When you read it, you know that America is ready and determined to help us.
All right.
We should welcome them and cooperate with them and help ourselves. God has had our prayers, the prayers of the victims and the prayers of the bereaved. Today, God is in Nigeria, with America as the working tool to help sanitize Nigeria.
Barrister Fred Nzako, I sincerely do appreciate your input on the World News at 6. I thank you, sir, for your contributions. All right. And that's a wrap on the world news at 6. My name is Esther. I want you to kindly stay with us for the evening rush, which will coming up by 7. Good evening and thank you for listening. This is your number